Just 1 hour ago, the royal family confirmed the news Meghan Markle feared the most. And it's worse than anyone expected. After months of silence, ignored calls, and whispered rumors, the truth is now public. Meghan has been officially cut off. No royal role, no titles for her children, and no path back. But what's more shocking? She found out the same way we did, through the press. No warning, no explanation. As the monarchy closes the gates, Meghan breaks down, and Harry explodes in fury. This isn't just a royal decision, it's a message. And now, a war has begun. The message that started it all. At exactly 10:30 a.m. on a cold December 2025 morning, Buckingham Palace released a brief but explosive statement. It was only 42 words, carrying no warmth, no reassurance, just clinical detachment. The announcement read, "A painful decision has been made regarding the Duchess of Sussex's future participation in royal matters." That single sentence detonated across the world. Reporters flooded London, New York, and Toronto, scrambling for clarity. No context, no explanation, no direct reference to Meghan Markle. But everyone understood what it meant. A door had been shut. At 10:35 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Meghan learned of the decision not through family, not through formal notice, but through a breaking news alert on her phone. She froze in the kitchen of her Montecito home, blinking at the headline, "Royal Family Confirms New Decision About Meghan." Harry was out of town for 48 hours, leaving Meghan alone with spiraling questions. She reread the statement several times, searching for hidden meaning. Why hadn't anyone contacted her? Why no warning from King Charles, William, or even a palace aide she once trusted? As social media erupted, millions tweeting within 20 minutes, Meghan's mind stitched together past red flags. Meetings quietly cancelled in October, emails ignored in November. A sudden shift in tone from palace communications. What she once interpreted as scheduling issues now looked like a pattern. Even a cryptic message she received weeks earlier, "Be careful," began to feel ominous. Had they been planning this all along? She scrolled through news updates as journalists speculated everything from removal of titles to legal separation from the monarchy. What terrified her most was the silence. Every attempt she made, messages to former staff, calls to royal offices, emails to legal liaisons, came back unanswered. It was as though someone had flipped a switch, cutting off every remaining thread connecting her to the monarchy. And that silence carried a message more cruel than any official announcement. "You're no longer one of us." As Meghan sat stunned in her California home, trying to decipher an announcement crafted to wound without explanation, the reality began to sharpen. This wasn't confusion or miscommunication. It was orchestration. And with every unanswered call, every ignored message, betrayal tightened around her like a noose. Meghan's growing realization of betrayal. Between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Meghan made 14 calls to palace contacts. Senior aides, private secretaries, even general switchboards. Every call rang out. Every voicemail went unanswered. Not a single acknowledgement. She contacted 2 former staff members who once managed her communications, but both responded with the same chilling message. "We can't speak on this." In the world of palace politics, silence was never accidental. Silence meant strategy. Shaking, she reread the Buckingham statement again, this time analyzing every word. Painful decision, future participation, institutional alignment. The phrasing was cold, deliberate, and meant to obscure the truth behind diplomatic language. She remembered how several planned meetings in September had been suddenly postponed. A scheduled conversation with King Charles in October had been rescheduled indefinitely. At the time, she blamed logistics, but now everything aligned too perfectly. Then came the memory that sent a chill through her body. 3 weeks earlier, she had received a bizarre 2-word text from an old palace insider. "Be careful." No context. No explanation. She had brushed it off. Now, in retrospect, the warning glowed like a siren. Decisions of this scale didn't happen overnight. They were built quietly, brick by brick, behind locked doors. Meghan realized she hadn't been left out of the discussion. She had been intentionally excluded. By 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, she understood the truth. This wasn't merely a public distancing, it was a coordinated freeze-out. Her emails, once answered within hours, now sat unopened for 10 days. Ongoing charity partnerships had fallen suspiciously silent. Even contacts who once assured her of neutrality now seemed terrified to respond. The monarchy was making its move, and Meghan was the last to know. But what Meghan didn't yet realize was that her exclusion wasn't just emotional, it was procedural. While she struggled to reach anyone, a secret meeting had already taken place behind palace walls. And in that room, with no cameras and no transcripts, the royals decided her fate without her. The silent meeting. In a concealed chamber of Buckingham Palace, known internally as Room A47, a private meeting unfolded at 9 a.m. GMT, an hour before the public statement was released. Present were King Charles, Prince William, 3 senior advisors, and 2 legal representatives specializing in royal constitutional matters. The agenda: Meghan's future. The atmosphere was reportedly tense, with concerns raised about her public influence, media power, and ongoing global partnerships. William argued that Meghan's continued presence, even informally, posed a strategic risk to the monarchy's stability. Others cited the 2020 media fallout, the 2021 Oprah interview, and the 2023 Netflix aftermath as justification for decisive action. Someone proposed restricting her visibility entirely. Another countered that complete removal might spark global backlash. For 83 minutes, her name, her marriage, her children, and her public image were dissected like pieces on a board. Then the discussion shifted, darkly, to the children. Archie, born in 2019, and Lilibet, born in 2021, were reviewed in terms of titles, protections, and future appearances. The children, according to one advisor, were symbolic leverage. Their futures were weighed not by affection, but by optics. Their titles, their rights, their public roles. Everything was up for debate. Finally, at 10:23 a.m., a draft document was approved unanimously. A document Meghan had never seen, never consented to, and never knew existed. It outlined her removal from royal engagements, revocation of remaining privileges, and reclassification as a fully private citizen. She would not be informed until after it was finalized. The die had been cast long before she picked up her phone that morning. As Meghan grappled with confusion thousands of miles away, the machinery of monarchy was already in motion. And the next step was even more devastating. A legal strike, cold, calculated, irreversible, was about to redefine her relationship with the crown forever. The legal strike. By 3:30 p.m. GMT, just 5 hours after the public learned of the announcement, legal teams inside the palace began implementing the decisions made during the A47 meeting. A finalized memorandum, signed by King Charles III, was circulated internally. It removed Meghan Markle from all remaining royal affiliations and reclassified her status under the 2022 Revised Royal Participation Act, a document she had never seen, discussed, or been consulted on. There was no option to contest, appeal, or revise. It was framed as institutional clarity, but its effect was total erasure. The legal language was eerily sterile. Meghan's name appeared only once. The rest referred to her as the spouse of the Duke of Sussex and outlined her removal from event protocols, security briefings, and logistical support. Under Section 4, Subclause C, she would no longer receive advance updates on royal engagements. Under Subclause F, her access to royal residences, even Frogmore Cottage, returned to the Crown in 2023, was permanently restricted. Her remaining patronages were to be redistributed by March 2026. Even her digital presence was targeted. A directive was sent to remove references to Meghan from the official royal.uk website, except for archived materials. The palace's social media team was ordered to refrain from including her image in any future family posts or commemorative content. It was more than a severance. It was a strategic fade. One insider described it as ghosting at a constitutional level. By 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Meghan's team had received the final version of the legal document. The cover letter was only one sentence long. Please consider this a formal update to the Duchess's standing. The emotionless delivery left Meghan numb. In a matter of hours, she had gone from royal outlier to official outsider. No recourse, no goodbye, no room for dignity. But as Meghan and her lawyers tried to unpack the stunning legal blow, a second storm was brewing. This time, it wouldn't come from behind palace doors, but from within the media. What had been hidden was about to be leaked. And the world would soon learn just how deep the cut truly ran. How the world discovered the hidden truth. At 8:42 p.m. GMT, less than 12 hours after Buckingham Palace's original statement, the first leak hit the press. A prominent royal journalist posted a screenshot of the confidential memorandum detailing Meghan's formal removal. By 9:15 p.m., 3 major outlets, The Times, The Guardian, and CNN International, confirmed its authenticity. The public now had access to the cold, bureaucratic language used to sever Meghan from the crown. It wasn't just official, it was devastating. The document's harshest blow came from the section discussing the children. According to paragraph 7, the royal titles of Archie Mountbatten Windsor and Lilibet Diana were not only to remain unrecognized by His Majesty's government, but any future claims to them would be inconsistent with royal tradition as of 2025. Their attendance at future royal events was to be discouraged in the interest of institutional unity. The backlash was immediate. Protect Archie. And Lilibet began trending globally within 30 minutes. More troubling were the implications buried in the fine print. A clause under Section 6 revoked their access to palace security, regardless of international travel or attendance at UK-based family events. Public figures weighed in. Serena Williams, Beyoncé, and Michelle Obama reposted commentary calling the move strategic punishment. Journalists unearthed that even in 1996, Princess Diana retained certain protections post-divorce. Meghan, it seemed, was being cut out more thoroughly than any royal before her. Meanwhile, Buckingham Palace refused to issue clarification. Repeated requests for comment were met with the same phrase. No further statements at this time. Silence, once again, became the official weapon. Inside media circles, the consensus was clear. The monarchy had made its move and underestimated the storm that would follow. For the public, the leak was horrifying. For Meghan, it was confirmation. The palace hadn't just distanced her, they'd rewritten her family's place in history. And as the headlines grew sharper, the weight of it all came crashing down. What followed next was heartbreak no legal document could ever capture. Breaking down. After the statement. At 5:40 p.m. PST, Meghan sat on the edge of the guest room bed in her Montecito estate, holding the printed legal packet in her lap. The page outlining her children's exclusion trembled in her hands. Tears spilled down her cheeks as she whispered aloud, "They said this wouldn't happen." She wasn't just reading words, she was watching her identity, her rights, and her children's future vanish. No warning, no defense, just a signature she never saw. Her closest friend, a former royal aide turned private consultant, called at 5:58 p.m. and confirmed what Meghan feared most. The palace had no intention of reversing the decision. "It's worse than the public knows," she said. "They want you forgotten." The phrase hung in the air like smoke. Meghan had faced press attacks, racism, and tabloid invasions, but this was different. This was an erasure from within. A system she once tried to navigate had turned her into a ghost. News stations cycled the leaked memorandum all evening. By 7:30 p.m., every major network in Europe and North America led with the story. Pundits dissected the institutional cruelty, while allies of the crown defended the decision as necessary reform. Meghan barely heard it. Curled beneath a blanket in her son's room, she stared at the ceiling and whispered her children's names like a prayer. "Archie, Lily, I'm still here. I'll protect you." When Harry returned just before 9 p.m., he found Meghan in the hallway, silent and shaking. He took the envelope from her hands, read it once, and dropped it to the floor. "They did this without us?" he asked. She nodded. In that moment, Harry realized this wasn't just about exclusion. It was war, and their children had just become collateral. As the final pages fluttered to the floor and Harry held Meghan in the quiet dark, the emotional impact gave way to fury. What the monarchy had taken quietly, they would now confront loudly. And in the shadows of betrayal, the Sussexes began to plan their response, one that could shake the crown. Betrayed by blood. Prince Harry had returned from a conservation summit in Botswana just hours before the memorandum leak exploded across media outlets. By 9 p.m. PST, he was back in Montecito, jet-lagged and unaware of the chaos that had unfolded while he was gone. Meghan met him at the door with tear-filled eyes and trembling hands. The legal document was already printed, highlighted, and annotated. As he read it silently in their kitchen, Meghan watched the man who once walked behind his mother's coffin turn visibly pale. At 9:13 p.m., Harry attempted to call Prince William. No answer. Then he tried King Charles's private line, voicemail. Even his personal aide in Clarence House, someone he trusted for over 15 years, didn't respond. By 10 p.m., Harry had left 6 voicemails, each more enraged than the last. The final message: "You made this decision about my wife and children without me. I want no part of this machine ever again." Only one person finally replied, a senior palace intermediary, at 10:42 p.m. PST. The message was curt. "The document is final. The king has endorsed it. There is nothing more to discuss." That sentence burned into Harry's mind. It wasn't just exclusion, it was betrayal. His family had made a life-altering decision behind closed doors, without informing the person it affected most. Not since his mother's death in 1997 had he felt this kind of abandonment. Harry stood on the balcony that night, staring into the darkness. "They didn't just cut Meghan out," he whispered to himself. "They cut me out, too. The children are not spared." By 7 a.m. the next morning, international outlets had begun publishing shocking new details. Archie and Lilibet were named directly in the severance clause. According to sources close to the legal team, their potential royal roles, title considerations, and even basic event invitations were now legally suspended. For Meghan, it was the ultimate betrayal, punishing innocent children for adult disagreements. Meghan clutched the section of the memo that referenced public distancing of secondary heirs. The phrase sounded sterile, but its meaning was brutal. It meant Archie, aged 4, and Lilibet, barely 2, would have no space within the monarchy's future structure. There would be no Christmas invitations, no royal family portraits, no symbolic roles, no presents at all. Harry was livid. "This was never about protocol," he told a friend during a 10:15 a.m. phone call. "It's about erasure." A palace staffer leaked a note from a 2021 internal discussion in which Meghan's children were labeled symbolic liabilities. That leak sent social media into a frenzy. Hashtags like #NotMyMonarchy and #LetThemBeRoyal trended globally. By mid-afternoon, the world knew Archie and Lilibet had been collateral damage in a war they couldn't even name. For Meghan, it confirmed every fear she had carried since her first day in the royal system. Meghan and Harry prepare to fight back. By Wednesday afternoon, a plan was forming. Meghan and Harry realized silence was no longer an option. It had become a weapon used against them. The couple contacted legal experts, advisors, and their most trusted media allies. They would reclaim the story that had been twisted in the shadows of palace walls. At 4:30 p.m. PST, Meghan held a private meeting with a crisis communication team. Evidence, emails, private messages, and even recorded calls. Everything was being compiled. A document leaked to a New York Times journalist revealed that Meghan had previously raised concerns about her role being minimized in late 2022. Her fears had gone unacknowledged. Meanwhile, Harry met with attorneys specializing in international reputation and digital rights. By Thursday morning, they had drafted an initial rebuttal and reviewed options for public disclosures. "We aren't attacking the crown," Meghan told an ally. "We are telling our truth because no one else will." Plans for a digital platform were expedited, a place where they could speak freely without interference. Meghan also scheduled a sit-down interview, the first since the infamous 2021 Oprah Winfrey broadcast. But this time, she would not be crying. She would be standing firm. A royal war has begun. By the weekend, global media had taken sides. Supporters rallied behind Meghan and Harry, citing institutional cruelty and emotional abuse. Others accused the couple of undermining the monarchy. But one thing was undeniable. The palace's silence had failed. Their quiet strike had become an international scandal. Newspapers in Germany, South Africa, and Australia ran front-page features titled "The Exile of Meghan," "The Forgotten Duchess," and "Royal Rifts Uncovered." In the US, talk shows and podcasts exploded with opinions. A CNN anchor said, "You don't exclude children to make a political point." The world had awakened. The monarchy, already strained by Queen Elizabeth's death in 2022 and King Charles's aging health, now faced a public reckoning. Critics questioned outdated systems of hierarchy and unchecked power. Meghan and Harry, though hurt and still healing, had become unexpected catalysts for modern change. As Sunday closed, Meghan posted a quiet message on their new platform. It read, "We were silenced, but never erased. Our family stands, united and unafraid. Thank you for listening." With that, the battle lines were drawn. The House of Windsor may have removed Meghan, but in doing so, they sparked a firestorm that may change the monarchy forever. As the dust settles from the royal family's bombshell announcement, the silence from Buckingham Palace speaks volumes. There has been no clarification, no apology, no defense of the decision. Just a perfectly crafted wall of quiet, designed to absorb the backlash while hoping it eventually fades. But this time, the silence only adds fuel to the fire. For Meghan Markle, the woman once welcomed into the monarchy with global fanfare in May 2018, this moment feels like a closing chapter, but not on her terms. The decision to fully sever her royal role, strip lingering privileges, and restrict her children's standing within the institution has publicly redefined her legacy. She is no longer just the Duchess of Sussex. She is now the first royal in modern history to be exiled by statement, without warning, without appeal. Sources close to Meghan confirm that she is deeply hurt but not surprised. The couple had long suspected this was coming, yet the manner in which it unfolded, through leaks, legal language, and exclusion, cut deeper than either anticipated. What stings the most is not the loss of title or duty, but the message to their children, Archie and Lilibet. "You're not one of us." Across California, Canada, the UK, and beyond, the reaction has been seismic. Critics of the monarchy now point to this event as proof of the firm's unwillingness to evolve. Terms like institutional cruelty, public betrayal, and generational erasure now dominate the media discourse. Former aides and royal watchers alike have described the move as vindictive, even as palace spokespeople insist it was about preserving tradition. But the damage is already done. Prince Harry, once seen as the bridge between worlds, has become further alienated. His attempts to reach his father, King Charles, and brother, Prince William, were met with vague responses and closed doors. One insider confirmed, "Harry was told it's already done. There's no reversing it now." Behind the scenes, Meghan and Harry are not retreating. In fact, they're preparing for what many insiders are calling their final response. Trusted advisors, legal experts, and media strategists are now part of their inner circle. A new platform, fully independent from traditional media, is already in development. Here, they will control their story, speak in their own words, and refuse to be edited or misrepresented. As for the monarchy, this move may have protected the palace today, but it has opened the gates to a much larger battle. With international headlines spotlighting Meghan's exclusion and public support shifting toward transparency and modern accountability, the monarchy now faces its most dangerous opponent, a global audience that refuses to look away. What began as a simple morning statement at 10:30 a.m. has become the defining moment in the relationship between the Sussexes and the Crown. Not with rage, but with resolve, Meghan Markle now prepares for a new chapter, one written not by the monarchy, but by her own hand. Because once the door is slammed shut, sometimes the only way forward is to build your own.